first move, Microsoft says it's increasingly concerned about cyber attacks aimed at those on the front lines of the coronavirus battle, including hospital computer systems in Paris, Spain and Thailand and in the United States. As a result, test results and critical guidance are being delayed. Tom Burt is Corporate Vice President for Customer Security and Trust at Microsoft, and he joins us now. Tom, great to have you with us. This is incredibly worrying. It's not just about health medical services. The World Health Organization itself has been targeted. Just explain what you're seeing.
Well, at Microsoft, we are seeing a wide range of activity, and we're closely monitoring the 8 trillion signals we get every day for indications of nation states that are attacking healthcare or human rights organizations. And what we're seeing is consistent with what you've seen reported in the press. There are attacks, both cyber criminal attacks, trying to extort money, but also nation states who are infiltrating these organizations to gather information or potentially to do some damage. And so we wanted to take steps to help protect our healthcare institutions and human rights organizations from these attacks. That's why we've offered our free AccountGuard service, which is a threat notification service to these organizations.
I want to ask you about what specifically you're providing to some of these healthcare services and companies that are being targeted here. But what do you mean when you say nation states? Who specifically is targeting healthcare services around the world? Can we be specific?
Well, we have typically seen the same countries who are involved in nation-state activity in the cyber realm, and talked about that on other occasions. It's Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran are the principal countries who engage in nation-state conduct. In this particular instance, we haven't established a pattern enough that we want to identify any particular nation as being involved in these attacks. But we've seen enough to give us concern, and especially as our healthcare providers begin to work hard on treatments for COVID-19 and on vaccination, we want to make sure that that information is protected and not disrupted.
Absolutely. And is the effort here being made to disrupt care for individuals? Because I mentioned in the introduction there that it actually was in certain cases impacting the availability of test results, the timing perhaps of test results. Are these attempts, based on what you're seeing, to deliberately delay, negatively impact healthcare being provided in these countries?
Well, we're certainly seeing cyber criminals do that by using ransomware to tie up the data at a healthcare provider and then extort the provider for money. And we've seen in the past, not that long ago, in 2017, when North Korea launched the WannaCry attack that targeted the national health systems in the UK, we saw that there was an effort there to actually disrupt the provision of healthcare. We haven't seen anything that egregious yet, but we wanted to provide this service to healthcare organizations and to human rights organizations now to help them defend against those attacks should they come.
Okay, so explain what the AccountGuard threat notification system is and how you want healthcare workers that are then using this to react.
So the service, we closely monitor the activity of nation-state organizations using all of the signals that come into from the Microsoft environment. And we watch for activity by those nation states. And when we see an AccountGuard account under attack or compromise, then we notify you that you are under attack so that you can take steps to clean up your system or to defend against that attack. And one of the things that's unique about AccountGuard is that if you are an institution who has signed up for AccountGuard, you can also include in that threat monitoring the personal accounts of affiliates who opt in. So your CEO, your members of the board, the workers or volunteers who work with you, any of those affiliates can also opt in, and we will monitor those accounts as well, because we see that nation states often start their attacks by trying to attack the personal accounts of someone involved in an organization, and then to move from there into the organization's network.
And just to be clear, you're giving this away free to healthcare providers?
Yes, that's right. This is a free service for the healthcare providers. and the human rights and humanitarian organizations. On our website are all the details for who's eligible, but it's very easy to go to the Microsoft AccountGuard website and see how you are eligible and how to sign up.
One of the things that I think the whole world at various degrees are dealing with is working from home to some degree, being in touch from home, even if for essential workers you're in the workplace too. And based on what you just said there about the initial entry point tending to be of a more personal nature here, is that also complicating the service that you're providing, the protections in place, but also allowing perhaps more of these cyber attacks to be happening at this given moment in time?
It's absolutely true that during this time of crisis, with so many people working from home, that expands the scope of the security problem that an organization faces, because they now have workers working from home. For those of us who still are fortunate to have jobs and to still continue to be working, many of us, like all of us from Microsoft, are working from home. And that does expand the scope of the security environment that has to be protected. And that's one of the reasons we think that this free AccountGuard service is going to be valuable to the healthcare and human rights organizations, is because they can monitor not just their corporate accounts, but also the personal accounts of their people that opt into the service.
Tom, you're one of our many guests that we see coming from their home. I assume it's your home. I just wondered what your view is on what protections you want to see your company have in place before you'll be confident enough to go back into the workplace. Would you be willing to share your views on this with us? Because I think this is a discussion that's going to be happening more and more in this country as we continue the conversation on what getting back to work in an official environment actually looks like.
Well, I certainly look forward to the opportunity to get back to work and meet in person with my colleagues. But that's going to be, I think, a very challenging process that that companies, that states, that government organizations, the healthcare industry professionals who really know the science and the data are going to have to work together to think about how can we gradually go back to work in the way that's the safest. And at Microsoft, I know the executives who are working on that issue are involved every single day in talking to other companies, to officials in the healthcare industry, as well as to government officials, about what are the steps that we need to take to work our way back into being able to go to the office and do that in a way that is safe and ensures that all the sacrifices that many people around the country, around the world have already made, that those sacrifices are not in vain. So we don't want to rush back so quickly that we just reinvigorate the virus and then have to take these extreme steps all over again. So we're at a point now where I think everyone's thinking about that very seriously, and I'm going to follow the guidance of the company as we work our way back to getting back to the office.
Well said, sir. There's no rush here. Safety first, and make the sacrifice that we've already seen worth it. Tom Burt, great to have you with us, Corporate Vice President at Customer Security and Trust at Microsoft. Stay well, sir.
Thank you.
You.